Hey guys, my name is Manish. I'm going to explain about hyphenate association mapping. So first, what is the association mapping? Association mapping is called establish the relationship between different entity classes is called association mapping. So we can say maintaining the relationship means establishing the relationship between different entity is called association mapping. So now we see type of association mapping: one-to-one mapping, one-to-many mapping, many-to-many mapping. This mapping I will explain with example in Eclipse, but let's move to next slide. So one-to-one mapping, I have an example of like user and Aadhaar card. One user is having one Aadhaar card and one Aadhaar card have to associated with only one user. So this is the example of one-to-one mapping user and Aadhaar card. Now we need to explain about second one-to-many mapping. One-to-many mapping means customer and order. I'm taking as an example like one customer going to place many order, but each order have to associated with one customer. Then the third one is a many to many mapping. In many to many mapping, I will explain the example of customer and joint account. So like one customer can have more than one account and one account belong to more than one customer. So like we can say joint account. So joint account is the example of many to many mapping. So let's see again. One-to-one mapping, user and Aadhaar card, one user, one Aadhaar card. One-to-many mapping, customer and order, one customer going to place many order and each order have to associated with one customer. Many-to-many mapping, customer and we can say joint account. So joint account is the example of many-to-many mapping, what I'm going to explain in Eclipse. Let's move to first one-to-one mapping. So here I have a one-to-one mapping example which I'm going to explain through Eclipse. User and Aadhaar card. One user have only one Aadhaar card and one Aadhaar card associated to one user. One user have only one Aadhaar card and one Aadhaar card have to associated with one user. So I have taken the entity class name as user entity and another entity class is Aadhaar card, and both are having has a relationship with each other. So I will explain these things in Eclipse. One important thing is here in one-to-one mapping, foreign key need to be stored in a primary table. It's a recommendation. So like here I have the user detail table and then Aadhaar card table. So you see that user ID, first name, last name, age, then Aadhaar ID, FK. Here Aadhaar ID FK is the foreign key from Aadhaar table, Aadhaar card table. So here whatever Aadhaar ID I have, this Aadhaar ID is the foreign key in user detail table. So let's move in Eclipse. Here we can see in Aadhaar card table we have Aadhaar ID, city, state and Aadhaar number. So let's move in Eclipse and we need to see what we have here. So here I have one we can one application one-to-one mapping. In this I have two entity, Aadhaar card and user detail. So let's open user detail. User detail is nothing but it's a simple entity class what you always know in Hibernate, and it's a ID generation technique. Here first name is marked with like first name, last name, age. I'm going to explain through annotation. So these are the things like it's a normal Hibernate only once you know about annotation. So the important thing what I need to focus here in user detail table, in user detail entity, I have the has a relationship of Aadhaar card. And if we see that Aadhaar card entity, so here I have the like it's a normal thing ID generation, then each field having our own name, and then Aadhaar number, it's always a string. So here like has a relationship of user detail table, user detail entity. So like Aadhaar card is having user detail as in has a relationship, and in user detail entity we have Aadhaar card as a has a relationship. So each entity is is having has a relationship with each other. So now the important thing here we need to see how we are going to map this, how we are going to achieve association mapping one to one. So let's focus here what I'm trying to write it here is very important. So just put the annotation one to one. I did that, and then cascade. Cascade I'm going to apply because if I will save that user detail entity, then it's indirectly going to save that Aadhaar entity also. That's why I'm putting this cascade type dot. We can say all now, and then we need to put one more annotation at the rate join column. So at the rate join column, it's going to expect name. So we need to write some meaningful name. So how I'm going to write some meaningful name? So for the Aadhaar card, what is the Aadhaar ID? Same thing I'm going to copy and paste, and we say Aadhaar ID FK. So means this field is going to maintain the foreign key relationship from the Aadhaar table. We'll see after running this how it's going to happen, but now we need to uh, map like that. Now we need to move in Aadhaar card entity. In Aadhaar card entity, we need to map this. So here just put one to one annotation, one to one annotation. Here if you type mapped by either, so it's going to mapped by with what? Mapped by with Aadhaar card, what I have has a relationship in user details table. So this one is very important, mapped by with Aadhaar card. And here we need to see one thing, this Aadhaar card is a entity field name. So like this Aadhaar card, it's a field name. So same thing I taken it. So now we can say that mapping is done. So like remove that unwanted import, code got formatted. This code is also I'm formatting it, it got formatted. Now I need to insert the record. So here I already wrote that code. Here if we see user detail is first name, we can say Divya, last name is Srivastu, age is 25, and for that Aadhaar card information is Aadhaar card issued by Lucknow. Let's see what are the fields I have. So Aadhaar card city, state and Aadhaar card number. So city is Lucknow, Aadhaar card state is Uttar Pradesh, and then Aadhaar card number is like ADH00021. And then what we did, I'm setting this Aadhaar card in user detail entity, and after that I'm trying to save it. So after that I'm trying to save it. So here we need to see one more time what I did. First user detail object, then Aadhaar object, and then Aadhaar object I set in the user table, user detail entity, and after that we are trying to save it. Simple. So let's see in DB. First I need to we can say drop that DB. So I'm going to drop that DB called Java Dev. So it's a dropped. Then again we are going to create it. So create database Java Dev. It's going to create it now. Use it. Use Java Dev, and then we are going to fetch the record. Select asterisk from Aadhaar card, but it's not there, so it's not going to give any error that table it not exist. So now move to Eclipse, and we can say run that application. I run it. So here I see that record got inserted. So now again move to database and check this record is there or not. Select asterisk from Aadhaar card. So it's going to return Aadhaar card ID 1, Aadhaar number is this, city is Lucknow and state is Uttar Pradesh. So if we fetch the information from user detail table, then you are seeing that user ID is 1, age is 25, first name is Divya, last name is Srivastu, Aadhaar ID FK. So this column is the foreign key in user detail table from the Aadhaar ID. So this Aadhaar ID is foreign key in user detail table as Aadhaar ID FK. So let's insert one more record. So like Divya, we can say Abdul, and we can say Kaji, and then age is we can say like 28, and then city is Delhi, and state is fine. I'm not going to change it. Here we need to change 22, and then again same thing. So we are going to insert one more record. So let's do this. Let's see that record in DB. So Abdul Kaji 2. Let's look in Aadhaar card. So like Delhi, Uttar Pradesh and 2. So this is the 2 record what I inserted it. Now fetch that record. So I'm going to use the load manager. In load manager what I'm going to do, I'm going to fetch that first record, and then I'm going to display that user detail and then from user detail I'm going to fetch that Aadhaar card information, and in both the entity class I overridden two string function. So if I'm going to say SOP user detail, so it's going to display all the information. So let's run that code and we need to see. So here we are seeing that user ID 1 it's a user detail record and it's an Aadhaar card record, because we fetch that user detail record. So from user detail record I just fetch that Aadhaar card record also. So let's do little bit change here, like it's a bidirectional. So bidirectional means if I have that Aadhaar card data, then I can fetch that Aadhaar card, and here also Aadhaar card, we can say Aadhaar card. So Aadhaar card and Aadhaar card dot get user detail. So first what I explained, if you have that user detail record you can fetch Aadhaar card record. Now I'm going to explain, if you have Aadhaar card record you can fetch the user record also. So like we see here, we fetch that Aadhaar record and after that we are fetching user record. So how we are going to do this, because this two entity, so this two entity like Aadhaar card and user detail has a relationship of each other. So this one is known as bidirectional mapping. Bidirectional mapping means once you have one entity object you can fetch other entity objects. So these are the explanation about one-to-one mapping using annotation. So guys, if you have any comments, then you can post me. I will write the code for that, or if you want to give any suggestion regarding that, those things you also share it, then I think it's good to go ahead. So for this lecture, this one only. After that I will explain about one-to-many mapping and then many-to-many. So now, thank you so much.